Welcome back to the Media Bolt podcast, where we talk all things content creation. So whether you're creating with a cell phone or you're shooting big budget films on a cinema camera, we're here to provide you with practical knowledge for the next time that you press record. On today's episode, we have someone that I've watched a long time, director, a DP, a very, very talented person who's worked on music videos with Khalid, Wiz Khalifa. He's shot things with the Chicago Bulls and worked with, some of the best talent there is out there. None other than Cody LaPlant.
Yo, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. What's up?
Chilling. It is a beautiful November day. It's like 65 degrees.
Man, we better get it in for it.
We went skating outside yesterday. Feeling good. Had a run this morning. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you taking the time to come out. I know you're a very, very busy guy and got a lot on your plate. But first of all, I think we chatted a little bit before, but I've watched your stuff for a long time. I've really kind of studied your work and tried to work my way up to get to that level in a sense. And, you just have an amazing filmmaking eye and do a great job with that. And I just appreciate you coming out.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Well, let's start the earliest question. Where did your passion for filmmaking begin? Where did that start?
It started when I was a child. Like many people, some people get in it through skateboarding. I got into it through rollerblading. So I've been rollerblading, aggressive inline for at this point, probably 18 years. And I just picked up Sony Handycam, just wanted to document the journey with friends. Got a little laptop, Windows Movie Maker, and just started making edits with my friends and putting it on the internet. I think right when I started, YouTube was just starting to be a thing. Vimeo was also a thing, and I just put my work on the internet, travel around the Midwest with my friends, and skate. And so that was pretty much it on a recreational level. And then I went to UWM for college. And my first full year at UWM, I was an undecided major. I didn't even know they had a film school. I just came from Madison. I wanted to go to Milwaukee just to go to a bigger city. And I exhausted all my general credits at the end of second semester of my first year. The guidance counselor was like, you got to declare a major. And she was like, I was like, what are your art classes? I do, photos and videos. She's like, oh, we have film school. I was like, oh, that's great. Let's be a film major. So I declared my major as film major and started working from there. I kind of found out the BFA, the majors that I was getting in school didn't really, you know how it is. When you graduate, people aren't asking for your degree.
Right.
They're always asking for your portfolio and your work. So that kind of scared me because in school, we weren't, the first few years, we weren't really making a lot of stuff. It was more looking at films.
Right.
So outside of class, I had to link up with my homie, Carter, who's now passed away, rest in peace, but he got me he makes music. He was a rapper and he was my test subject. Did my first 4 music videos with him and pretty much used him to learn. And that's pretty much kind of where the professional aspect started to get started when I was probably 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So then you're shooting some music videos, different projects. When did you start to did people start taking notice and say, man, can I hire you? Can I pay you to do this? That kind of thing.
So the one music video that jumped it all off, and I made this with my best friend, Damian Blue, is a music video called Doomsday by Webster X. And that was the first video I made that I was pretty stoked on. I felt tonally, it had all the colors. It was gloomy, just how the song was called Doomsday. It just kind of fit what we were going for. And that song, did well. Webb's career started taking off here in the city and nationally, and we were getting press on all these blogs. It was during like a blog era, and that video pretty much kind of just sent us on our way into our journey. I think that is like definitely the defining jump off moment. So shout out Webby.
Yeah, and that was the catalyst that got you going. So I've noticed your aesthetic as a filmmaker. You know, you have that filmic look. You also sound design is like huge in a lot of the projects that you guys do, and your team kind of does. Where did that come from? Where did that like stylistic choice? Where does that like resonate with you, I guess?
Well, thank you about the sound design. I appreciate that. I don't know where that came from. I remember doing like a video with Carter, and it wasn't a music video. It was like a trailer for, a mixtape or something. But it was the first time I got the opportunity to like use sound, design, because in a music video, you're using their tracks. So there's not a lot of sound design happening. So I think it started there, and it was just, I don't know. I realized that you can take the visuals so much farther with like sound. And I'm a visual guy, but it's 50% visual and 50% sound. So once I figured that out, I don't know, I just always tried to include sound design even in all my music videos, even if it was just like in the middle of the track and I'd just take the levels down for a second, or even like a 10, 15-second intro. I always just want to use sound design. So I don't even know where it came from, other than I fell into it and I love sound design.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely stands out with your work. That's something that always, like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, it's so intentional, and it's like, that it was part of the process of building that video or whatnot.
Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes I get caught up in the sound more than the visuals these days. I'll like listen to things with my eyes closed and go back and do edits. But yeah, sometimes I use sound just to even pace edits out instead of like cutting with action. Sometimes I'm just cutting strictly to sound and like feeling. So,
yeah, right.
Sound is huge in my work.
Sick. Can you talk to me a little bit about your group that you guys all work together with, Take 7? And what was that vein? Where did that start, and kind of what you guys do? Sure.
Take 7 Productions is a production company founded by my good friends, Jordan Larson, Jordan Hiltz, and Emmanuel Merari. And I met these guys in film school. I had a job working at UWM, being like a videographer and editor, and I'm going to call him Skeeter, because that's what we call Emmanuel, Skeeter. Met Skeeter, and he then brought me into the rest of his squad, which is the 2 Jordans. They're making like their senior thesis at this time. And they just, wanted me to DP this film called The Coldest Game. And, fast forward a few years, we all just became very good friends. And, I don't work with them on all my projects, but I work with them as much as I can. And then a part of that Take 7 umbrella and kind of the people that we've worked with, there's my good friend Damian Blue, and then also Found Format, which is Kyle, Cato, and Stephen Cleveland. So yeah, that was kind of like the tribe. We all kind of used each other in all of our videos. We are all just, there was really no egos. I'll go on set for Kyle and Steve and do whatever they want me to do. And the same for them. Like, we just kind of help each other out and build each other up, because we know it's only going to benefit all of us. When those big moments come, like, I'm bringing the team with me. So, yeah, I love those guys.
That's sick. One of those videos that stands out is the Beloit skycarp video.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about my past in baseball. I actually played against the Beloit Snappers when I was with the Lansing Lugnuts, like in 2008.
Nice.
Yeah, so I played at the old stadium. They've got
it was fun doing the rebrand. The new stadium's gorgeous.
Dude, it's amazing. And I didn't even know about it, because that was one of the worst places in minor league baseball to play. And now they're like, top notch.
How are they?
Yeah, that's sick now.
Now they're good?
Oh yeah, that stadium's really nice.
Okay.
Really nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, man. Super cool. Super cool. Well, the next thing I kind of want to chat about is your reels. What is your process about, or how does your process work when you're like, okay, I'm going to build a reel for whether it's your 2021 or 2022 reel? Because I think it does, you guys do a great job, and the people you work with, just the reels are very visual, and you get a really good idea of what you're getting from what you guys do.
Yeah, I always love putting together demo reels. I think the first one I did was maybe in like 2014, but and I haven't made one in a couple of years, and I've started to edit one this week, and it's always hard to get started. I don't know. I always look back at the other ones, and you get hard on yourself. We are our biggest critics, but yeah, as I'm putting together reels, I'm just looking for songs that have, everything. I want build-ups. I want slow parts. I need drops so I can have like, my fast footage. I need slow footage, and then I need opportunities to use sound design because I just want to bring that in there as well. So in the reels, I'm trying to just show a variety of things. In the beginning, it started off more as like a director DP reel. It's been more of like a directing reel lately, but yeah, I'm just trying to show the different variety of work that I can bring, the talent I can work with, and the types of shots we can create. We got handheld footage. We're going to do some steady footage. We got jibs. We got some bird's eyes. And I kind of just try to show the gamut of everything that I've worked with. I'm trying to show, night exterior shots. I'm trying to show some interior stuff. I'm just trying to really show everything that I have in my toolkit.
Yeah, can you give any tips to someone that may be making their first reel or starting out early on and finding out about having a reel?
Yeah. The biggest tip is put your best clips first. Like, people have short attention spans these days. You're going to want to put your best clips first, and you're going to want to get a song that's easily listenable by all sorts of audiences, I feel like. But and just make it engaging. I personally like to do sound. I don't know that's always been a thing that I've done, but the biggest thing is you just don't have that much time. Like, you don't get that much of people's time, so you're going to want to put your best up front, and don't make it too long. Like, I've seen reels that be like 3 to 4 minutes long, and I don't know. Personally, I think that's a little bit too long. So keep it short and concise, and keep it just your best shots over the past year or a couple of years.
Right. I know another thing is, like us at Media Boat Productions, we try to do spec work whenever we can to add specifically for the reel, essentially.
Huge.
Because that's what we want to try to, we want projects that embody the style that we want to shoot sometimes too. And is that something that you've leaned into?
There hasn't been a ton of spec work in maybe my past reels, but right now, personally, in this phase that I am in my career, and a lot of my colleagues and friends, we're all in like a spec phase. We're all kind of like transitioning. We're trying to transition a little bit deeper into the commercial world. And we've all found out that that's just an area where they need to see kind of exactly what you're, going to pitch against. So if you're looking to do a car commercial, well, you better have like a car spec, or if you want a fashion commercial, you better have a fashion spec. So specs are on my mind a lot lately. And honestly, those are the projects that like keep you stoked too. Outside of client work, you got to have projects that like keep you excited and keep that like that fire burning inside.
Right. That
reminds you like why you started, because after a while doing client work, it's great, you're making money, but maybe your creative side isn't getting much attention. So it's nice to just like balance that teeter-totter out, and do some creative work, do some stuff that you're passionate about, and do things that, that you're trying to get hired for. Like, work creates work, and the work that you're going to make is the work that you're going to get hired for. So specs are great.
Yeah, that was something I think last summer for me. I hit that wall, and I was like, man, I feel like I'm just like doing busy work in a way. how can I break out of that? And I had a little vacation home, and I came back, and we just shot a spec project. We have a documentary series, Shocking Stories, and we just did a new episode, and it just helped me to like punch through that.
What was it, a doc?
Yeah, a doc on a baseball player here for the Milkman.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, you need those.
And it feels so good when you finally like,
Yeah.
you're like, all right, now we're good. Now the busy work doesn't feel so busy. And now my brain's working for the next one. Now we've got 2 or 3 things in motion that weren't there because, you kind of get lost in that, the minutia sometimes.
Yeah. You need that stuff to keep you going because you can get burned out doing stuff for other people, and you got to do stuff for yourself sometimes.
Facts.
So,
facts. How do you talk a little bit right now? You're in a phase where you're trying to create specs so that you can essentially get projects that you want to work on in the commercial space. How do you harness that vision in pre-production? Or let's say you have an idea and you want to reach out to someone, or you're even just pitching a project and getting that opportunity. What is your first kind of steps to taking that out of your mind and getting it, somewhere to show people?
Yeah, the first steps for me, I just need to find something that I'm going to carry on and finish, get to the finish line. We have a lot of ideas as creatives. And making videos is kind of a long process. So you want to do something that, you're super stoked on. And so in the beginning, it's just gathering inspiration, maybe trying to find your subject, making mood boards, just getting, putting things together that get you excited. And then once you have kind of the baseline down, then you can start to formulate it into like a pitch deck, which is basically going to explain your entire vision of what you want. And then, you shop that pitch deck around with your friends to see if anyone wants to help you. And then you show that to, anyone else, sponsors, companies that might want to invest in it, and pretty much anyone you want to get involved. You take that pitch deck and, that's kind of like your North Star for the whole project. So, just start. I mean, you got to be inspired first. So,
yeah, for sure.
I'm just trying to get inspired, get the deck going, and then produce it, get those pieces put together, and try to make a video.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about your sound design. At what part of that pre-production process are you starting to implement how you want the sound to work, how you want the tones and musically and sonically to be?
I don't know if it's like a conscious thing. I don't. It's not something I really think of. Although I am thinking about the edit the entire time. Making something, especially on set, I think that helps you like not overshoot. Because if you got something, you got it and you can move on. But as far as the sound goes, I mean, maybe you always have sounds that your go-tos, but that's something that probably really comes together after the fact for me.
Gotcha.
Which is like a fun, creative sandbox to just dive in and do sound all day. And there's an app called Soundly that I use, and that's just a great library of sounds that you can pretty much just, search whatever you want and then drag it into Premiere. So it's made the workflow so much easier as opposed to like a couple of years ago. I think I would be going on YouTube, ripping things and like doing a little Foley work as well. I don't do a lot of Foley. I'm mostly just getting sounds that already exist. So yeah, the sound is more, I think, unconsciously made.
That's a vibe. What about your transitions? Because I've noticed a lot of your transitions, they just flow so seamlessly. Are some of those built into your shot listing? And prepared that way?
Yeah, the transitions are definitely thought about beforehand. I think those are always fun ways to just keep a viewer engaged. And honestly, I got to step my game up because these TikTokers are going crazy with the transitions. So I think they've shown the world how transitions work on just like a DIY level. So it's kind of, I feel like it's expected now.
Right.
But it just helps the flow, keeps everything smooth. And when something transitions to the next scene, you don't even realize it happened. I think that's like when a transition works well.
Seamless. It's not like, it doesn't stand out, but it helps to get you where you're going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to pivot a little bit. So you were able to work with one of the biggest pop stars really of this younger generation, Khalid.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And how did that kind of happen?
Uh-huh.
Number one, and then the other thing, if you could talk about it a little bit, is like working with someone of that caliber. How does it change the vision that you're bringing in versus maybe someone else?
Well, that all happened because my friend Levi Turner, we had been internet friends for many years and just kind of always followed each other's work and admired what we were doing. And Levi really just dives in with certain artists and, goes on tour with them or creative directs for the entire projects. And he had just finished working on with Joey Badass and was kind of moving over to just try some other things out. And he had linked up with Khalid and he had reached out to me. I remember I was on a job in Switzerland, like in the bathtub. This is ridiculous. And he hit me up and was like, hey, you want to write on a treatment with me for Khalid? I'm going to shoot next week. Of course, the music industry is like, we always need things like yesterday. Mm-hmm. But I was unavailable. I was out of the country, so it wasn't going to work. But I was like, man, I love Khalid. Like, please keep me in mind. And like about a month later, top of the year, top of 2022, he's hit me up. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, we're gonna do this thing. So just be ready. When songs come through, get ready to pitch on those. And finally, some tracks came through, and we just got on Zoom and just started going in on these treatments. And I think the first treatment we made was like Khalid featuring Smino and one other artist, and we had everything finished. We had a date set, and then like the day before my flight, that shoot got canceled.
Oh man,
it's like, dang.
Yeah, that's a gut punch.
Gut punch. But the silver lining was, but we have this other song. It's always another song. So, from his new project, which he really wanted to focus on more, it was more unreleased music. So it was actually a better situation. So, this song from his new project came out, and we just started dialing that in. And a couple weeks later, we were out in LA shooting. And to answer your second question, as far as like the caliber of working with that artist, yeah, it's definitely a different ball game. I remember, I was super nervous for sure. And if you aren't nervous, you don't care enough.
Right.
So I was pretty scared. And but we worked so hard in pre-production, and we were making sure everything was right. But we definitely made some mistakes. Things when you're working with artists of that caliber, like we learned, you don't want to leave things to other like outside variables to affect your shoot, like shooting things around blue hour or sunset and having a bunch of shots. Like you're just going to run out of light, and if the talent is late, which unfortunately Khalid was a couple hours late, your whole day gets crunched. So all these scenes you had with light are suddenly, you're looking at your shot list and you're like, dang, we can't do this. So after experiencing that, I figured out like why people shoot with these larger pop stars in studios all the time, because the whole environment is controlled. So I learned a lot from that first shoot. We did the video called Last Call, and we ran out of daylight, and didn't exactly get everything that we wanted. So it was kind of like a little bit of a punch in the stomach. We got back to the hotel, and we're just like, man, we could have done better. We definitely could have done better, but it just made us so hungrier for the next one.
Right.
So maybe like a month later, Levi sends another track for a song called Skyline, and Khalid really wanted like a K-pop feeling video, which is different for the work that I do. I do a lot of dark stuff. Yeah. My lighting's usually dark, but this was going to be the complete opposite. We were going to get choreo, colors, and all that. But on bigger sets, your time management just needs to be on point, because the moment you go over schedule, like you're costing the production company money out of their own pocket, which is not something you want to do as a director. You don't want to be known as the guy that's costing, companies money because you don't know how to manage your time on set. So that was the biggest thing, is just knowing how to manage your time, because there's 40 to 50 people on set, which is wild too, just like, kind of being the captain of the ship with that many people on set. But, once you're there on the day of it, it really does kind of feel just like all the other projects. You kind of just tunnel vision and locked in. And we were much happier with this second video we did together called Skyline. And we brought in my boy Damian Blue to DP. So that was just a great experience to all be together. And but if you watch the video, it's a massive hot air balloon, and the winds were insane that day. So like we almost couldn't get the hot air balloon up, like it was going to blow away or something. And like the entire concept was based on this hot air balloon. So that was just another slight learning lesson of letting like outside variables affecting your vision. So it's just things to keep in mind moving forward, but it all ended up working out. But yeah, those were amazing projects to be a part of. Like forever grateful for Levi and Khalid for just bringing me in and working on those together.
So sick. So sick. Can you talk a little bit about the project with Wiz Khalifa?
Sure.
That's one of my favorite artists. And just how that kind of went.
Same. Yeah, Wiz was my favorite artist for sure in high school. I think this was COVID time, and I'd done some work with Atlantic Records. And you get, basically what they're called briefs, and they send you like, hey, this is the song, this is the budget, this is when the treatments due, and then the final videos due. And I remember I was at the skate park skating, phone buzzed, and I look at it, it's from the music video commissioner, Wes, and he was like, oh. And I saw this, and I was like, this is a sweet like email. So I screenshot it. I was like, I hope this happens, because a lot of opportunities come through the door all the time, and they don't always work out. But this one ended up working out, but it's a slow burn. I think that I got contacted to do that maybe in like September, and this was the COVID year, so things were all messed up, but we didn't actually get on set until about December. We started shooting. We did 2 days in Milwaukee, storyline scenes. We did both of those here in Milwaukee. And then we flew out right before Christmas to shoot with Wiz at this theater, I think, Orpheum Theater in LA. And that was great. I mean, when that shoot wrapped, I just finished so many shoots in December. I just remember like a weight lifted off my shoulder. It felt so good.
Yeah.
Everything went, well. Wiz was super chill. He'll do whatever you want. And I was just super stoked. I got to work with someone I was like, obsessed with as a youth. So
yeah,
it was a moment for me for sure. Yeah.
That's dope. That's very
And
dope.
I like that video as well. I think it's a good message. Hold your family close to you. Don't let work get in the way too much, and hold the ones closest to you as close as you can. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good stuff right there, man. The next kind of project, this is something that's a little more recent, is the Aspire series with Unfinished Legacy. That was really cool, and highlighted a bunch of people in our network here in Milwaukee, and I think you guys crushed that. It was how did that come about? And also, there was multiple pieces y'all are releasing from each individual person.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I love Unfinished Legacy. Their company was birthed in 2020, I believe, and always had kept in touch with Brema. So was doing, stuff with Unfinished kind of from the jump as their company was getting going. So, and always like genuinely loved their message and their clothes. And we'd been making videos, and there was a hiatus where we hadn't done anything for a little bit. In comes my squad, Found Format. We were on set together all the time, and we just kind of wanted to make something together. I've done like co-directing, but I'd never like co-directed with another duo. But these were like my best friends. So, and it was just so seamless. So they came to the table with their ideas and I came to the table with mine. And we just really wanted to show people who are passionate about what they do and are doing it at a high level and kind of combine that with the metaphor of like a caterpillar kind of birthing into like a butterfly in that process of growth. Yeah. So we kind of want to use the metaphor of growth combined with people's passions and put it together into a video. There was this Converse piece directed by this director named Karim Hudu that we took a lot of inspiration from. And we pretty much just used that as our inspo, and we shot for 3 days. And those were one of those projects that just kept the fire burning inside. Yeah. Like when you finish, you're just so proud and happy about what you made. And it was one of those projects that reminded you like why I do what I do.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm stoked on that project.
And I think that's also a project for the creative community that it aspires, but it's also inspiring a lot of different people in the community that, you know, watch what you do, watch what that group kind of does. And I just thought it was awesome, man. Y'all crushed that.
Appreciate it.
Y'all knocked that out of the park.
Yeah, it inspired me because being a creative, you can get burned out and get down on yourself, and you definitely go through ruts. And sometimes our emotions are connected to like maybe how you're doing at work. And, you know, it just feels good to have a project like that like really kind of brings you back up and just reminds you why you're here. Right. So, and gives you some confidence as well. So
it seems like your network you kind of built has been a thing over time, a lot of, whether it was film school to just people you work with. What is some tips you can kind of give about building your network and getting on set with other creatives?
Yeah. The biggest tip and the thing that's worked for me, and it is a grind, but I did so many cold outreach emails, and my biggest jobs that I landed at a certain point in my career were all just from like reaching out via email. I would dive in, and I was in my, you know, deep into my music video phase, but I'd be searching for management email, and you know, I wanted to work with people that like I genuinely liked listening to. So I'd find people that I wanted to listen to and just reach out to their management. And honestly, it's probably like a 5 to 10% response rate, but like that one email can change everything. So for me, that's been the biggest thing, is just letting people know that you exist and kind of bothering them. And unfortunately, as a freelancer, you got to do some self-promo.
Right.
So you got to let them know you exist. And that's really worked for me. I remember like my first big music video I got for this artist out of London. His name's Jacob Banks, but I really enjoyed his music. It was like this neo soul. And I sent him my demo reel and some videos, 2016. Well, he emailed me back like a year later and said, hey, I saved your email because I liked your work. I finally, you know, got a record deal and want to work with you.
That's dope.
And that was like so sick to see that work. And a couple weeks later, we're out in Colorado running around and making some magic. And so yeah, the video is called Unholy War. I just saw The Revenant, so I was on like a horse mountain landscape kick, and I still am on that kick. So yeah, the biggest thing is just put yourself out there, and as scary as it is, but letting people know you exist.
Yeah, I think that's something we've talked about here at Media Bold, is like you can kind of work in the shadows sometimes, or you can you know, us as creatives, sometimes can be introverted. And we have to put ourselves out there, put our faces out there, because you never know how the world works, and you make a connection and what that could lead to. You know, it's like our conversation, you never know what that could lead to. Or
it's like, all an umbrella or like a web of interconnection. So yeah, it's good to get out of your shell and meet people. But I'm certainly in my own little creating bubble as well. So, you know, I've known about you guys for years, and we just met today. Yeah. Because you kind of on your own mission, your own journey, and figuring things out. But it's super important to just let people know you exist and connect with other people. Because like you said,
For sure.
you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Looking in the future and kind of where you're at, what are some things that you're kind of like, okay, this is the next mark I want to kind of head towards? Is it, you've done a lot of music videos, you've done a lot of commercial work, which you've kind of mentioned. Is it that vein? Is it narrative? Like, where's your brain looking?
Yeah, it's such a hard question for me, really. Seems to change by the season.
Yeah.
At one point I really wanted to dive deeper in the music video world. I still really enjoy music videos, but they're the highest stress, highest expectation, and lowest budget. But the biggest like creative sandbox as well. So I still want to do music videos, but I just want to do things that like inspire me. So for me, I really love action sports, doing stuff in that vein. And I love to travel as well. I have an obsession with National Geographic, which is interesting because it's kind of like not really a lot of the work that I make isn't even in that vein. I do have travel projects like that, but I read a lot of nonfiction books of like explorers going on expeditions, and that just always really gets me excited, and I want to just like go on these expeditions and do stuff like that. So yeah, there's a director who's like the king of that. His name's Renan Ozturk, and he travels the world, doing these incredible expeditions and filming that stuff kind of doc style. So I'd love to do some of that.
You've done a little bit of that.
A little bit, yeah, definitely a little bit. Would love to do it more on like following like a character and really diving into like a certain character. The travel stuff I've done would be like, when I go out, I'm filming the people that I'm with.
Yeah.
I would love to link with a local and really tell their story. So I just like telling people's stories. That Aspire project was a lot of like just telling other people's stories. So I think I want to just dive more into that world where it's like a neo stylized but doc style kind of portrait on people. I'm not sure where that's going to take me, but that's like what interests me. I like just telling people stories. So doing a little bit of that, and diving into the commercial world even deeper. It's hard getting to that next step because you have to like pitch on these projects, and you got to be real resilient because you can spend, a week putting together a deck and then present it and really feel like everything went well, the presentation went well, and then you won't get the job. And then that'll happen like 6 more times in a row. And but you still got to stand up, dust yourself off, and do it again. But it is it can be a lonely pursuit sometimes, the commercial filmmaking world, but it's interesting to be able to tell like a story in like, because you only get 30 seconds or a minute. So that's like a fun challenge to be able to like really design shots, your transitions, and doing everything. Mostly everything's in pre-production, really. So the day of is kind of everything's lined out. But I'd like to do a little bit more in the commercial world, some more in the doc world. And the biggest thing is just doing things that inspire me. So I gotta bring myself up as well, because it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah. What would you, if you could give advice to, let's say the younger you before you get into this, and what things would you tell yourself to focus on at the beginning that maybe, 5-6 years in, you were like, I wish I would have kind of been thinking that way?
Younger me, maybe just don't care what people think about you, and just put out the work that you want to put out. You definitely get self-conscious about the things that you do, and that may hold you back from pursuing certain things, or even just something as simple as like, Instagram posting. Am I going to post this?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's up there, but honestly, none of it matters. We're all on like a rock flying through space.
Perspective.
So, I just try to like zoom out and really just put everything into the art and just try not to worry about what other people think, which is still hard now for me and, everyone, especially with Instagram. Don't get sucked in.
Yeah.
We only post the good times, and comparison is a thief of joy. So just focus on yourself and dive in on your own journey.
I like that. I like that a lot. Being a director, what is your mentality on set when you're working with, you may have a big crew of 10, 15, and then you have talent, a bunch of talent. What type of director are you, I guess I could ask?
I definitely keep the vibe pretty light. I'm not a serious person. There's definitely time to be serious. I'm there to get work done, but I want music playing. I want people to feel comfortable. I've been on sets where it's definitely more tense, and there's a time and place for that as well. But I like to keep it a lighthearted place because then the people you're collaborating with, I feel like they kind of open up their heart more and can give you some of their better ideas if you just seem a little bit more approachable, and not having an ego is huge. Leave that at the door. We don't do that. And I don't know, sometimes, and listen to other people's advice, obviously as a director, you go in with your vision, but sometimes something might not be working. And I'm not afraid to turn to my crew and ask for opinions or advice, because maybe they're seeing something that I'm not. So, I want to make it a place where we can all collaborate, really. So I'm the director, but we're all there to make something together.
Yeah, and you never know when, the PA is going to have the best idea.
Exactly.
And really change things or, elevate a project. So.
Yeah, I would never be one to tell a PA to shut up or something, but normally PAs probably aren't going to say anything, but like I said, I listen to everyone's ideas. But it's a balance, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, as otherwise it gets messy. But yeah, keep it light, but keep the mission in mind.
That's a great way to finish it, man. Could you tell us a little bit about where we could find your work, follow your journey, and just stay in touch?
Yeah. You can find my work on my Instagram, Cody LaPlant Films. Also, my website is codylaplantfilms.com. I have more work on my Vimeo, vimeo.com/Cody LaPlant. And that's where you'll see my work. And I can't believe we're coming into a new year. 2024 is about to be here.
Nice.
So, just hoping to keep progressing and growing and doing my thing. So,
man, I appreciate you, man. This is really cool. It's been really cool to meet you finally today and have this conversation, man.
Appreciate it.
And we're big fans and just keep crushing it.
This was fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So no matter where you are watching this or listening to this, please subscribe, give us a like, and we just thank you for tuning in and learning some great stuff from our man right here. All right. Talk to you again. Peace.